Welcome to Godly Play at Clayton Valley Presbyterian Church. I'm Kathleen, and I'm glad to have you join us at the Story Circle. We come to the Story Circle from the sanctuary when we meet together, and a teacher will meet us at the door, for we're greeted and called one by one, called by name. As we come to the circle, no matter who the teacher is that particular Sunday, we always start the same way. The Lord be with you. As we collect ourselves at the circle, we make ourselves ready to come close to story. This room is filled with story. We have the sacred stories of the Hebrew scriptures and the Greek scriptures on either side of the room, the parable mysteries, and the stories of how we worship, all behind me. As we look around, we see that every basket, every box, every tray has a story just for us. And even though we may have heard a story before, we were different then than we are today. And so our job is to make ourselves ready to hear what's in the story for us this time. Today, I'm going to start us with a story from the Greek scriptures, the New Testament. We need to know where to find the story, because when you're in this room, once you've heard a story, it's your own, and you can take it down from the shelves anytime you'd like. We just need this little basket today. But you can see that we have the desert box at the circle, and I know some of you love the desert stories. So let's get ready to see what the desert holds for us today. The desert is a strange and dangerous place. During the day, the hot sun blows the winds, so people wear protective clothing from the sun and the winds that are blowing sand. But at night, when the sun drops down below the horizon, it can get very cold. Not much grows in the desert, so there's not much to eat and not much to drink. Those winds can change the shape, so it's easy to get lost, too. People just don't go into the desert unless they need to do that. Now you remember that when Mary was expecting her baby, her cousin Elizabeth, who was thought too old to have a baby, well, she was expecting a baby too. Elizabeth's little boy was born first, about 6 months ahead. And his father, Zechariah, said that his name would be John. Later then, Mary's baby was born, and you know that her baby was named Jesus. They were cousins. They didn't live real close to each other, but they did know each other all their growing up years. They grew to be men. And when he was grown, John went into the wilderness. He went to live there, to think, to be alone. His clothing was made of camel hair, and he ate locusts and wild honey that he found. God came so close to John, and John came so close to God that John knew that God was telling him what his work should be. And so he went back near the River Jordan. He came out of the wilderness in his camel cloth, with his locusts and honey in his food sack. And the work that John was to do was to tell people to get ready. He told them that they needed to prepare themselves for the one who was coming, who would change everything. Prepare for the Messiah, a new kind of king. Well, people began to gather. They came down to the river, the Jordan River, to hear John. And they asked him what they should do. And he said, give up the old ways. Be baptized, cleanse yourself, and make yourself new. And follow the 10 best ways to live. And John began to baptize people in the river. They came down to the Jordan, and he would bless them and use the water from the river to cleanse them so that they could begin a new life, following the way God wished them to live, and get ready for what was to come. Well, someone else came. Jesus, John's cousin. And when Jesus arrived, John came across the river. And in that moment, it was as if he saw his cousin for the first time, for he saw who he really was. And John said, oh no, you are the one that we've been waiting for. You are the one that we are getting ready for. You should baptize me. Jesus said, no, it's been written that you will baptize me, and we should do it that way. So John took Jesus into the waters of the Jordan, and he too was baptized with those waters. And as Jesus came from the dark, confusing waters of the River Jordan, people said there was a bright light. And a beautiful white dove flew down close and nearly touched Jesus' shoulder. And people said they heard a voice. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And then Jesus crossed the river, and he went into the wilderness for 40 days, 40 nights. So that he could pray and learn what God wanted his work to be. I wonder what part of this story you like the best. Or what part speaks to you I wonder if there's a part of this story about you. I wonder if there's a part of this story that's different today for you. I wonder what part of the story you'll take with you into the week and continue to wonder about. So until we come together again at the circle, may the Lord bless you and keep you.